In this video, we're going to do practice problems from lesson 1.4 on page 35 in your math workbook. We'll do all of the ones on the front and then maybe a few on the back. Cereal brand A advertises that they have 60 raisins in their 24-ounce box of cereal. The advertised ratio of raisins to ounces for two other cereal brands are shown in the table and graph. Which brand advertises the greatest ratio of raisins to ounces of cereal? Justify your response. Well, one thing that I like to do when I'm trying to compare three different things is make them all look alike. So the first thing I'm going to do is take all of their starting numbers like this, and I'm going to simplify it off to the side, and then I'll make a little table. I'm going to scooch my paper up. The first thing I'm going to do is write A, B, and C. And then I'm going to write the ratio they give me. A has 60 raisins in 24 ounces, so 24 to 60. And then brand B is 6 to 18. And C is 10 to 20. I'm going to simplify these down to their unit ratio. This first one I can divide by 12, and that makes the ratio 2 to 5. 24 divided by 12 is 2. 60 divided by 12 is 5. I'm going to divide the next one by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 18 divided by 6 is 3. This last one I'm going to divide by 10. 10 divided by 10 is 1. 20 divided by 10 is 2. Now I have all of the ratios simplified. I'm going to use that to make a small table so that way they, again, all look alike and it's a little bit easier to compare. This time I'm going to put A, B, and C going across. And then the point at which their ratios are the same, I'm going to stop. A has 2 to 5, B has 1 to 3, and C is 1 to 2. I'm just going to count by 2's and 5's on the A side. I'll count by 1's and 3's on the B's, and 1's and 2's on the C's. It didn't take very long for me to find the matching numbers. I don't have to make a big long list. It was until their ounces were the same that I could then compare how many raisins were in each of those boxes. So for every 2 ounces, A had 5 raisins, B had 6 raisins, and C had 4 raisins. So brand B has more raisins. Let's do number 2. At the gym, Alex spends 24 minutes doing resistance training for every 30 minutes spent doing cardio exercise. Here's Alex. It says 24 minutes of resistance, 30 minutes of cardio. I'm going to go ahead and put that in my table. Carissa spends 15 minutes on resistance and 20 minutes on cardio. I'm going to fill in that in my table. Manuel spends 14 minutes on resistance for every 15 minutes on cardio. Which person has the greatest ratio of minutes spent on resistance to minutes spent on cardio? In the first table, we need to count by 24s. count by 30s. For Carissa, count by 15s. And then count by 20s. For manual, we actually need to add one more on here, and we'll get the exact amount. Once their cardio is the same, which would be 60, we can then compare the resistance. So if we're looking, Alex does 48 to 60, while Carissa does 45 to 60, and Manuel does 56 to 60. So which person has the greatest ratio? Manuel. Let's do number 3. Mrs. Quinto is comparing the calories in different types of bread. What bread has, wheat bread has 150 calories for every 2 slices. Wheat, 150, 2 slices. The calories in 2 other types of bread are shown in the table and in the graph. Which bread has the greatest ratio of calories to slices? The first thing I'm going to do is wheat bread is 150 to 2 slices. White bread has 160 to 2 slices. And if I look over here for rye bread, here's the number of slices. I find 2, and then I have to figure out how many calories that is. I know it's more than 100, but less than 150. Well, that's all I care about. All I know is it's smaller. Rye bread has less calories than wheat bread, and wheat bread has less than the white bread. So which one has the most? White bread. Without a lot of work, we could figure out that comparison. Go ahead and flip your paper over. Number 4 is a pretty quick problem. Mrs. Gonzalez wants to hire a catering company for her daughter's quinceañera. The ratios of the cost per person for a child and an adult for 2 different companies are shown in the table. Mrs. Gonzalez is planning on 25 adults and 12 children attending the party. How much less will it cost for her to hire the planning pros than the party time? So we already know that planning pros is cheaper. She's already determined that. She wants to know how much more money is she going to save. So how much less is it? Well, we know that there are 25 adults. So we're going to multiply these by 25. And there are 12 kids. I'm going to use a calculator, and off to the side, I'm going to figure out their totals. $10.50 times 25 is $262.50. If I do 6 times 12, I get $72. So their cost for adults and kids, if I add those together, is $334.50. If I do the planning pros, 9 times 25, I get $225. 7.50 times 12, it would cost $90 for the kids. If I add those together, it costs $315 to hire them. How much money did they save? We're going to subtract $19.50. We're going to do number 5, and that's where we're going to stop. It's about making money. Charlie, Beth, and Miguel all babysit kids in their neighborhood. The table shows the number of hours and the amount that each of them earned last night. If each person babysits for 5 hours next weekend, which person is going to earn the most money? The first way we can figure this out is we can divide their amount of money by how many hours they worked, and that gives us how much money they made per hour. So for Charlie, we do $28.50 divided by 3. For Beth, we do 42 divided by 4.5 hours. For Miguel, 40 divided by 4. Go ahead and use your calculator and figure out that calculation right now. Miguel is going to make the most money. If I do 40 divided by 4, he made $10 an hour. He made more than the other two people. So even if they all work the same amount of hours, Miguel is going to make the most money. Go ahead and try out 6, 7, and 8 on your own.